Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. From today onwards, we will start this course Intro to Programming, and this is in Kaggle Learn. If you click the Learn section on this Kaggle website, you will find many courses. Now I have selected this one. I will explain all the tutorials, then I will do the exercise for you. Okay, but before you start the course, let me tell you that this is a super easy course because it is for the beginners, for them who have no idea about any languages or programming. Okay, so every task will be very simple. So let's start. Okay, now first let me click this one, arithmetic and variables. Welcome to the course. This course is for them who have not written a single line of code. That's what I have already told you. You will learn how to use code to get a computer to perform certain tasks for you, like how you can instruct the computer. Okay, that is our main job to learn. The basics we will learn. This is best for the beginners. Okay, now first is printing. One of the simplest tasks you can say computer to do is print a message. You can tell the computer that please print something in the screen. What to print? Anything. You can write hello world, you can write my name is, anything you want to print, you have to call the print function. What is this print function? Print function is already written in the Python library. Whenever you write this code, you just call that function and it is printed. Function you have not studied, so you will not understand. For right now, you just understand that if you want to print anything, you have to write print, then you have to give the brackets, and within the quotation, you can write whatever you want to print. Okay. So let's read. In Python, we ask a computer to print a message for us by writing print. Exactly. And putting the message inside the parentheses enclosed in quotation mark. See, enclosed in quotation mark. Below we ask the computer to print the message hello world. Okay, so hello world is printed. Now the code inside the box is known as code cell. This is the code cell where you have to write the code and run the code. And the computer's response. This is the computer's response. This is called the output of the code. Okay. So whatever the computer is giving you is known as the output of the code. Okay, and where you are writing is the code cell. As you can see, computer printed the message that we wanted. Okay, now let's next one. This one we have printed. But what if we want to add something for doing any arithmetic like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division? That also we can do. So for in next instance, in the next code cell, the computer adds 2 and 1. I want to add two numbers, 1 and 2, and print the result. Okay. Note that unlike when we are simply printing the text, we don't use any quotation mark. While printing the text, we will use the quotation mark. Why? That you will understand with time. But what we are doing right now, just focus on that. For printing text, you want a quotation. But for printing numbers, you have to write print 1 plus 2. That is print 3. So 3 will be printed. For doing subtraction, 9 minus 5. Okay. So you can actually do a lot of calculation. You can add, you can minus, subtract, you can multiply, you can divide, and you can do exponentiation. 3 to the power square, 3 to the power cube. Okay. So you can control the order of operations in long calculations with parentheses. So you can control the order of operations also. Like when you do the math, you know that first parentheses will work, then division, then multiplication. We follow a rule called Bodmer's rule. Okay, same thing you can instruct the computer also. That whenever I provide this, how computer will perform? It will first add which are in the parentheses. After that, it will divide. Then it will multiply. Okay, so in this way, it will calculate. Okay. Now, in general, Python follows PEMDAS rule. If you want, you just click this and read that in which order the operations are performed. Okay, this is the rule. Parentheses, exponentiation, multiply or divide. Okay, then addition or subtraction. Now we use comments to annotate what code is doing. Suppose I have written the code, but I want you to read my code. So sometimes you will not be able to understand the code. So if I write something for you, like a note, then you will be understand that what I wanted to perform. Here I multiplied 3 into 2. And also I have told you that I have multiplied 3 into 2. Okay. So I am giving an instruction for the reader, but I also have to tell the computer that please don't execute this line. Please don't create this as a code. So for that, I put hashtag in front of the code. Okay. Then computer will think that this is not a code, this is a comment. And the reader will understand what the programmer wanted to do. Clear? Now they help other people to understand your code, right? And they can also be helpful if you have not looked at your own code in a while. So far, maybe you are also watching it after a long time. So you also may forget. People tend to forget. Okay. So far, the code that we have written is very short, but annotations become more important when you have written a lot of code. When you are writing some difficult codings, then you will be able to understand the importance. Here, you may think that this is easy, but while you are doing every programs, their coding, their annotations are very important. Okay. Now, for instance, in the next code cell, we multiply 3 by 2. We also comment multiply 3 by 2 above the code to describe what the code is doing. We have understood this. Now, to indicate to Python that a line is a comment, you need to give a hashtag sign, pound sign, as very first character. Once Python sees the sign and recognizes that the line is a comment, it is completely ignored by the computer. Okay, it will just ignore because it will understand that this is a comment, this is a description for someone else, not for me. This is not a code at all. This is important because just like English or Hindi, Python is a language with very strict rules that need to be followed. Python is stricter than a human listener, though, and will just error if it can't understand the code. We can see an example of this in the code cell below. Python errors, if we remove the pound sign, if we remove the hashtag sign, then what will happen? It will show like this, syntax error. Because Python will think that this is a code. Python will not understand that this is a comment. So it will give a syntax error. Syntax error means the way you write is called a syntax. So there is a problem with the syntax. Okay. You understood how we can print anything, any text, how we can do any multiplication, and what are the types of multiplication we can do using Python. Okay. Next is variables. So far you have used code to make a calculation and print the result. But the result is not saved. Once you are done, the result is deleted. So you want to save your result, you want to keep it somewhere. So you can imagine that you might want to save the result to work with it later. For this you need variables. Now how to create variables? The next code cell creates a variable named test underscore var and assigns it to the value that we get when we add 5 to 4. When I am adding 4 plus 5, this is added to some variable. So 4 plus 5, 9, test underscore var. This is the variable name. There it will be stored as 9. You can give any name. You can give A, you can give B, any name you can create. There are some rules for creating a variable. But for now, just understand you can give a name and there you can store the output. So what happens? Suppose you want to add something else with this variable, with this result, or you want to perform any kind of operations later, or you want to see what was the output later. So for that you use this variable. Okay. This is for storing. Here you are storing it. Okay. So now if you write print and you pass the variable name, then output will be printed. Okay. Now in general, to work with a variable, you need to begin by selecting the name you want to use. Variable names are ideally short and descriptive. You use something so that anybody can understand what is its purpose. Okay. And there are some rules. They can't have spaces, like you can write paste space where it is not allowed. It will show you error. It can include numbers, it can include letters, it can also include underscores. Okay. But if you use the special symbol, special characters like this or ampersand or hash or anything which is a special character, those are not allowed. Okay. And they have to start with a letter or with underscore. You can start with a letter or you can start with a underscore. But if you write in this way, this is not allowed. So there are some rules when you declare the variables. But I hope you have understood that this is a kind of memory you create so that you can use it later on. And you have to remember these rules. You won't get the error. Okay. Now then to create the variable, you need to use this sign, equal sign. That means keep the value inside this variable. Okay. You can always take a look at the value assigned to the variable by using print. If you use the print function, then you will be able to see the variable and putting the name of the variable in the parenthesis. That's what we did. We just put the variable name in the parenthesis of print, then you will be able to see this. Over time, you will learn how to select good names and it's completely fine to feel uncomfortable. Okay. But I hope you are comfortable. Manipulating variables. You can always change the value assigned to a variable by overriding the previous value. Suppose here I have created a variable, my underscore var, and I have kept in the value 3. I have printed, so it will print 3. Now, can I replace this? Yes, I can. I can replace it as many times as I want. Okay, and with anything I want. So I have written 100. So now it will be replaced. Now 3 is deleted and my underscore var is holding the value 100. Okay, it's like suppose you think that you have a box and in the box you have first put the red ball. Later, what you did, you just removed the red ball and you put an yellow ball. It's like the same. 3 was the red ball, first you kept, then you removed, then you have again kept a different ball. Okay, now you have printed this. So in one line we can say that It can hold any value. You can replace it with any other value. Okay, it's not that it is created, that means it is fixed. Okay, you have put the red ball, that means only the red ball will be there. Nothing like that. Okay, next, note that in general, whenever you define a variable in the code cell, all of the code cells that follow also have access to the variable. For instance, we use the next code cell to access the values myvar and testvar from earlier in this tutorial. See, here I have kept 100 and previously we kept 9 in the test underscore variable. So here they have just printed to show you that, see, they have stored their values. Okay. And you can access them. You can use them in any way you want to use. The next code tells Python to increase the value by 3. You just add the value by 3. To do this, we still need to use my underscore var equal to like before. And also, just like before, the new value you want to assign to the variable is right of the hash sign. Okay. Now next is using multiple variables. It's common for code to use multiple variables. This is because whenever you will write a code, you have to do so many operations. So you have to keep them in a variable. So that's why you may need multiple variables in a single program. This is especially useful when you have to do a long calculation with multiple inputs. In the next code cell, we calculate the number of seconds in 4 years. See, here I have taken 5 inputs. Number of years, 4. Per days per year, 365 days per year. How many hours per day? 24. Minutes per hour? 60. Seconds per minute? 60. Now I want to calculate number of seconds in 4 years. So I want to know that in 4 years, it is how many number of seconds. So for that, what we have to do? We have to multiply all these things. You have to multiply 4 into 365 into 24 into 60 into 60. Then you will get the total seconds in 4 years. This is a simple example. See here, to create a variable, they have put a comment. For putting comment, you have to provide this sign. Then Python will treat this as a comment. It will not show any error. Then you have given variable names and you have assigned them by using assignment operator, or we can say equals to sign. Okay, fine. After that, you have performed some calculation. You have performed multiplications. Okay, so here what happens? It it says that what is stored in this variable, it fetches that, it multiplies, then it keeps the result into this variable. Okay, now you have printed this. I hope this is completely clear to you. Okay, whatever the output is. So note, it is possible to do this calculation without variables as just, but it is much harder to check. It's like that you can calculate in this way also. But it is much harder to check that the calculation without variables does not have some error because it is not as readable. If you calculate in this way without variables, it will not provide any error. But don't you think that this is much readable? Seconds per minute, minutes per hour, hours per day, days per year, number of years. You can understand now what you are exactly doing. But here it's a bit vague, so it increases the readability as well. Okay. Now when we use variables, we can keep better track of each part of the calculation. Fine. Note that it is particularly useful to use variables when the values of the inputs can change. Obviously, it can change also. I told you that you can keep anything for to assign anything to any variable. For instance, say we want to slightly improve our estimate by updating the value of number of days in a year from 365 to 365.25. Due to any reason, I just change it. So, suppose for leap year, you have 366 days. So, what do? You just add it with 0.25. You are calculating for 4 years. Whatever the logic is, my aim is that I want to change slightly. So, now you can just change it here, 365 into 0.25, and there you just keep the code same. So, it is so easy for you, right? Otherwise, you have to change it into here. Okay, so you understand how uh, readability increases with using the variables. Okay, now you might have noticed that point 0 added at the end of the number, which might look unnecessary. This is caused by the fact that in the second calculation we used a number with fractional part, whereas the first calculation multiplied just numbers with no fractional part. Okay, the same thing. In second, it has multiplied with fraction, 0.25, and they are without any fraction. Okay, so these are different kind of data types. It's like one is integer, one is float, and there are many other kind of data types that we are going to learn later. Fine, for now you can ignore. Next one is debugging. One common error when working with variables is to accidentally introduce typos. Obviously, you can write something here like days per year, where you may have missed the s while typing mistake. That can happen. So when that time What Python will do? Python will not understand. Python will think that what is this do underscore par underscore year that is not assigned here. So it will generate some error. It will say that what is this? I don't know this. Tell me what is this. So how it will it tell? By generating the name error. It will say that this name, I don't know this name. I don't know this person. Who is this? Okay, it's like that. So for instance, if we spell hours per day as hours underscore par underscore dy, like A has been missed. So Python will say that it is not defined. Okay. So you may get this one. Name error, it is not defined. When you say name error, so it's an indication you understand that I have made a typing mistake. Where mistake that is also shown hours per day. So instantly you will go here and you will check what you have typed and what you have assigned. There are some differences. There are some typing mistakes. That's why Python is showing like that. Okay, fine. So to fix this error, you need to correct the spelling. Okay, then this one is done. Arithmetic and variables. Let's revise these things. First, we have understood how to print a text. Then, how to do the calculations. Different type of calculations we can perform. How to give comments by giving hash sign. Then we understand what is a variable. Why do we need a variable? And how to name a variable. What are the steps you have to remember? Sorry, what are the requirements, or I can say that what are the conditions for creating a variable name. Then we have understood how to manipulate variables, how to change their values, how to print them, how to add, subtract, or do any kind of operations on a variable, and how to use multiple variables in a single program. And if there is any kind of error, debugging error, then how to solve this problem. Okay, we have learned many things. Now, next, your turn to practice. Let's see what is in the practice set. Okay. This is an exercise provided by the Kaggle exercise platform. Here you can run the things. First, you have to set up the notebook. You don't need to understand this right now. This is right now required so that we can work on this notebook. Okay, they have done this. Our job starts from here. Question 1. Next, you will run some code from the tutorial so that, so that you can see how it works in yourself. Okay, fine. Run the next code cell without changes. Now, you tell me if I run this one, print hello world, what will be the output? Hello world will be printed. You know this already. You have successfully printed a message. If you want, you can write something else also. If I want, I can print this one. Okay. Here you can practice. These are the code cell. And whatever it is here, showing here, this is the output. Print is for printing. We are printing string, sorry, we are printing text here. So we are using, we are keeping this in quotations. Okay, clear. We have revised what we have learned. Now next, question 2. Now you will print another message of your choosing. Print your message here. So there they have provided these things. If you want, you can just write and run this. You just write good morning. I'll copy, I'll paste. But I suggest you that you try to print something. Okay. You think of something quote or anything. Okay. Whatever you want to do about yourself, anything you write and you try to print this. Okay. Then question 3. You have learned that you need a hash symbol, pound sign for telling Python to ignore the text for commenting out. Okay. Now hashtag print 1 plus 2. That means this one will not be treated as a code. Okay. Or we can say uh, this is a comment. See here, like you can see that q3 dot hint, q3 dot solution. Here they have provided hash. So if you just remove this one, then if you run, then you can check. Like hint means they will provide you some hint. Solution means they will provide the solution if you can't do it by yourself. And check means once you have written, you can check whether you have done it correct or not. Okay, these are simply they provide you so that you can do the self assessment. And whenever you want to see the output, you have to remove the pound sign. Then you can uncomment this. Okay, fine. Now our question 4. In this tutorial, you have defined several variables. The same one, num years, days per year, hours per day, minutes, seconds. Fine. Now calculate total number of seconds in a year. Total number of seconds in a year, run the next code cell to do the calculation. They have written the code. They told you that just run it. Okay. This one we have learned while reading that. Fine. Now use the next code cell. 2. They have given a task to you. Define a variable bars per minute and set it to 250. Okay. So this is the variable name. Bar per minute in per minute 250 bars. Okay. 250 babies are born each minute. Wow. Now next, define a variable bars per day that contains the average number of babies born each day. Now to set the value of this variable, you should use bar per minute and some of the variables from the previous code cell. They have told you that take the help of this one also. So tell me if there are 250 babies born each minute, then per day how many babies are born? You can write birth per min into what will be the variable here. Per day means per minute into hours per day. So you just have to copy this and write it here. Okay. Bars per minute into hours per day into minute per hour. Okay. Now what happens? Hours per day in a day 24 hours into minute per hours in 1 hour 60 minutes and in every minute 250 watts. Now if I run this, I will get the output. I have not printed. If you want, just write print and inside this you have to write per day. Now see. Okay, this is the output. Here you can see that I have not given the quotation because I am not printing bar per day. I am printing whatever the value is inside the variable. This is a variable, right? This is a variable name. So here I have stored the value. I have stored the output. So I am printing the value inside this variable. Okay. Now if I uncomment this, you can get the hint and you can get the solutions. Okay, fine. Next one is question 5. Will be a little bit more challenging than others. Okay, no problem. The Titanic competition is Kaggle's most famous data science competition. Kaggle competition, Titanic. Titanic is about the Titanic ship, which about that ship there are so many information about the Titanic data set, and you have to predict that whether someone will die or will survive. Okay. Anyway, that is a famous one. But run the next code cell without changes to load and preview the Titanic data. See what happens here. They have imported some libraries and they are importing a data set. This is the way you have to write or import. If you have not read about this library, then you will not be able to understand. If you But this is just uploading a data set. What is a data set? Data set which contains data. Here, the data set contains data about Titanic. Now, let me show it to you. See, this is a data set. This is in tabular form. There are rows and columns. Passenger ID survived, whether it has survived or not. P class means passenger class, name, sex, age, sibling, spouse, ticket, fare, cabin, and from where they have started their journey. This is simply about all those passengers who traveled via Titanic. Okay, so what it is done here by using some Python library, they have just downloaded that data set about Titanic. See, okay. Now on this, they can do different kind of machine learning operations, EDA also. Anyway, let's see. The data has a different row for each passenger. You can see that different passenger ID. Total equal to total number of passengers who boarded the ship. Survived equal to number of passengers who survived. Minors equal to how many passengers were under the age of 18. Minors. Okay, now run the code cell without changes. Don't worry about the details of how these variables are calculated for now. You can learn about how to calculate these values in Pandas course. Oh, first let me run this. You will not understand these things for now if you have no idea. Just see that you can this way calculate how many people have survived, how many people are under the age of 18. All these things you can do by coding. Okay. Now they have told you that calculate the values for two variables. Survived underscore fraction should be set to fraction of passenger who survived the Titanic disaster. Minors underscore fraction should be the fraction of passengers who were minors under the age of 18. For each variable, your answer should be a number between 0 and 1. If you need a hint or view the solution, then you can skip and then uncomment this. Like, say, I'll show you this first. Hint, sorry, solution. Now see, you have to just calculate this way. Just said, what will be the survived fraction? So you can tell survived is calculated from here. You just ignore the part and think that you have total number of people. You have how many people have survived and how many people are minors. Okay. Other than these things, you just ignore for now because you don't know pandas. Okay. Now, suppose I want to calculate how much people have survived. So, in simple maths, you just have to write survived by total. Okay. Total 891, survived 342. Okay. Next one, minors fraction. Same. So, what I can write? Minor divided by total. That's what is done here also. See, minors divided by total. Okay. Just make sure that you are not doing the typing mistake. Then what kind of error will be generated? Name error. Name is not defined. Okay. Okay. So you have got it. Just don't worry about how it is calculated. You will learn that later. Just imagine that you have total number of passengers, you have survived passengers, you have minor passengers, and then you are just told to calculate how to find the survived fraction. Okay. So just let me run this once. You can see the output. 38% has survived, 12% was minor. Fine. Now what is bonus exercise? Then keep going. You have finished this exercise. Now you are ready to do how to organize your code with functions. Okay, so we have finished this one. I hope you have enjoyed the session. Let me know your feedback via comments. And if you appreciate my effort, please subscribe to this channel. Thank you. Meet in our next video. Bye. Happy learning. Hello everyone. Welcome back to this channel. Let's continue our course Intro to Programming. Today we will learn what is functions. But before that, let's give a small recap. Whatever we have learned yet, let's revise them. Okay. First we understood how to print by using the print statement. Then we understood how to do any operations, different kind of operations. What are the types of operations we can perform in Python and order of operations. Then we understood how to comment, how to make it more readable, what is a variable, how to keep any output values into a variable and use that variable later. Okay. Also, we understood how to manipulate variable, how to print them, how to store them, and how to use multiple variables in a single program. Okay, so you remember all of these things we have done and also how to do debugging. Okay, now our next is um, functions. First, let me tell you why functions are required. Functions are required to organize your code. Like, suppose you think that you want to know total number of rooms. And for that, you add total number of bedroom, total number of bathroom, total number of kitchen, total number of drawing room. Okay. So for every apartment you want to know the total number of room, you have to perform the same operations every time. Okay. So what you do, you are repeating the code. And that is not a good gesture at all. So what you can do, you can organize your code so that you don't need to repeat the code. You will write once you will code the total number of room equal to this. And later, every time you want to know the total number of room, you will recall those statements, recall that operation, and you will perform the calculation. You are not going to repeat that code again and again. Okay. When you will do the example, it will be more clear. Just understand. You need to organize your code and you will not write the same code again and again. Instead, you will call that the statements you have written once. Okay, that will make your program more readable. Anyway, let's see here. In this lesson, you will learn how to organize your code with functions. Fine. A function is a block of code designed to perform a specific task. Okay, for a specific task, you have written a function. As you will see, functions will let you do roughly the same calculation multiple times. You are doing the same operation different times, multiple times, without duplicating the code. But you are not writing the same code again and again, but you are using the same code. Okay. Now, intro to functions. We begin with a simple example of a function. They have defined a function. This is a function. Add underscore 3 function below accepts any number and adds 3 to it. See here, this is the function add underscore 3. You can define any name. Okay. So here the name will suggest you that what are the things done here. Okay. Now inside the parenthesis, see, first parenthesis, inside that you pass something depending on your code requirements. Here I am passing a variable input underscore var. Okay. Now what is the operation? Operation is output underscore var. This is a variable name. Variable we understood in our last class where you store the result so that you can use later. And inside that you have done an arithmetic operation. Arithmetic operation will take this value input underscore var plus 3 and then you have to use the return keyword. Return keyword will return the mentioned variable. Okay, so whatever the value will be after the addition, it will be returned. Okay, so you understand. Now, see what are the components. Every function is composed of two pieces, a header and a body. This is the header part, which is defined by using def keyword. If you don't know what are keywords, then keywords means some specified words that are already used by Python itself. Okay, and they have different purposes. Like whenever you write def, automatically Python will understand that this is going to be a function. Okay, so I write def add underscore 3 input var. This is the header part. Let's see here. They have explained Def keyword that tells Python we are about to define a function. Exactly. Now the chosen name, you can give any name. Okay. For your function. Next one is the argument. This is known as an argument. That means, like suppose you want to add 6 with 3. So the input underscore variable will be 6. So here it will be 6 plus 3, it will be 9. Later you want that 10. So you send input variable as 10. So what will happen? 10 plus 3, 13. Later you may want 15. So here it will be 15, 15 plus 3, 18. So you understand that you don't need to write this code again and again. Instead, you are just passing a value to it and it will be calculated. Okay, so this is known as argument. Whenever you will call the function, you will pass the argument. Calling the function means you are using the function. Whenever you are using the function, you will pass an argument and that argument may be used inside the function. Okay, and what is return? I told you return is also a keyword. Just like def, as def suggests that we are going to define a function, return suggests that we will return something. To whom? To the code we have called where I wanted to add at that coding part, I will return this value. Okay. See the header part. The function header defines the name of the function and its arguments. Every function header begins with def, which tells Python that we are about to define a function. Clear? In this example, the function name is add underscore 3. In this example, the argument is input underscore var. The argument is the name of variable that will be used as input to the function. To the function, I am giving it as an input so that it can perform any operations. And it is always enclosed in parentheses that appear immediately after the name of the function. Within the parentheses, after the function name, you pass the argument. You pass the input to the function. Note that a function can also have no arguments. Not necessarily you have to pass the arguments. There may be no arguments as well, or it may have more than one arguments. Okay, so it is not fixed like there will be single argument. Nothing like that. Maybe zero, maybe more than one, any number. Okay, that depends on what you want to do in that function. Okay, and after that you have to provide a colon. This is a syntax. This is how you tell the Python that please execute my program. Okay. These are the syntax you have to follow. Otherwise, what will happen? Otherwise, there will be a syntax error. Now, next part is body. The function body specifies the work that the function does. That means what function want to do. And every line of the code in the function body must be indented exactly 4 spaces. That is the rule of Python. Okay, don't worry about this. There are some rules Python follows so that like if everyone follows the rule, everything will be in order. It's the same concept. It will be more readable when you write some code and you follow some rules. Automatically, that will help the other person to understand about your code. So that's why they follow some rules. So they follow exactly 4 spaces. Okay. Now you can do this by pushing the space bar 4 times or hitting the tab button. As you learn more about Python, you will understand the indent of your code. Okay. Next, the function does its work by running all the indented lines from top to bottom. It takes the argument as input, which is in example in input underscore var. This is the input. Now what function does? Function creates a new variable, output underscore var, and calculates this. The input plus 3. Okay. So your call, whatever operation you want to perform, you can just simply write. Okay. Next, in the final code called the return statement, just returns the value as the function's output. So it will return whatever the value is stored in the output underscore var. Okay. Now the code cell above just defines the function but does not run it. The details of the function body will make more sense after the next code cell when we actually run the function. Okay. Now how to run the function? I was telling you that the function will be called, how to run the function or how to call the function. When we run a function, we can refer as calling the function. Now see, here I'm creating a variable named new underscore number equals to add underscore 3. What is this? See here. This is the name of the function. So what you are doing here, you have defined the function. Now you are calling the function. Okay. So you have first created the function. Now you are going to use the function. To use the function, you have to call the function. So here you are calling the function and you are passing 10 as input. So what is happening here? Add underscore 3 is called. So your execution line will go here. It will be called and this one will be 10 because you are passing 10. So input underscore variable will be equal to 10. It will be assigned to 10. Clear? Now this has started executing. So you have to go inside. You will create one more variable. Here you will keep 10. This value is 10 plus 3. So it will be stored in 13. Then it will return the value 13. To whom? To here. Who has called new number. So now the returned value will be stored here in new underscore number. Clear? Now you can print this. See 13 is printed. Okay. So what is the advantage? Any times you can pass any argument 10, 15, 20 and you will get the value. Okay. You don't have to write it again and again. This may seem to be a small program, so you may think that what is the problem in repeating, but this will be more useful when you do so many statements in a single code. In a single part, you will write so many lines and you just call the program and it will all will be executed at the same time. You don't need to repeat. There you will understand the benefits more. Okay. See new number, the set the value of output variable to this new number. Okay. Now in more detail, add underscore 310 is the value that we get as output when we supply 10 to the input underscore var, call the function. When the function runs, it runs all of the code in its body from top to bottom. Then first calculates output underscore var equal to input underscore var plus 3, which sets output underscore var equal to 13. Okay, that's what we have discussed as of now. Now the final line of code is the return statement, which returns the value which is 13. By setting new number equals to add 3 underscore 10, we set new number equal to 13. We set new number equal to 13. Okay. What is the note? When we casually refer to this function in this tutorial, we use empty closing parenthesis after the function name. This is consistent with how people generally write explanations of Python code. And the empty parenthesis just make it clear that we are referring to a function. That means that we are not passing the input variable. Instead, we are writing in this way. Whenever you get something written with some parenthesis, you will understand that this is talking about a function. That's what they have said. Okay. When you have arguments, then also you may write in this way so that it is more readable. Like you can understand that this is talking about a function. Add underscore 3 is a function because there are parentheses. Okay. Now naming functions. Example above, the name of the function was selected for you. When naming our own functions, you should use only lowercase letters with words separated by underscore instead of spaces. Naming functions will feel natural over time and it is normal for it to feel uncomfortable at first. The best way to learn is by viewing a lot of Python code. See, when we understood what is a variable, we read some conditions that these things are not applicable, these things are better to follow. Like this, when you declare a function, it's good that you write this in small letter, lowercase letter, not in uppercase. And for every word, you just separate them by giving an underscore. Like say add underscore 3 in this way. Lowercase letter and the words are separated by underscore. Okay, that is a good way. And you will learn with time. Fine. Now a more complex example. Now that you understand the basics, we can move with a longer calculation. Okay, great. Say you are helping a friend to calculate their weekly paycheck after taxes. Okay, let's see how much they get paid. Okay, they are in a 12% tax bracket. In other words, 12% of their salary is taken for taxes. So they take home only 88%. Now they are paid hourly at a rate of $15 per hour. Okay. The function below calculates the paycheck based on the number of hours worked. The function is more complicated than with the first example because the function has more lines of codes and comments, more lines of comments and code. Okay. The function has a single argument, num hours in the function body. See, this is the function name, get underscore pay, def, the keyword which tells the Python that I am going to define a function. I have given a function name, I have given parentheses, within the parentheses I am giving the input or we can say the argument, number of hours. That will be passed to this function whenever we will use the function. Fine. Now here, this is a variable I have created and that is how much tax I am paying. Sorry, this is before the tax you pay. Here you get paid $15 per hour. So, num of hours, how many hours you are working, maybe 10 hours, 15 hours, whatever it is. With that, you get $15 per hour. So, you get what you uh, get paid before you provide the tax. Fine. Now, after the tax you pay based on 12% tax bracket. You have to pay 12% of what you earn. So after that, how much you get? So this is simple math. Just you have to calculate the subtraction 1 minus 0.12%, or we can write 0.88%. Then you add it with this portion. Okay, this is the amount you have income. This is the amount you have earned. Now you calculate 88% because you are taking only 88%. Okay. So now this is the amount you are actually getting after you have paid the tax. And now you return this amount. Return keyword will return this amount. To whom? Where you have called the calling function. Okay. Now we call this function the same way we call the first function. Okay. The next code cell calculates the paycheck based on working 40 hours. See here. Now you are calling the function. How to call the function? By giving the function name get underscore pay, and you are saying that I have worked 40 hours in this month. And now I want to know how much I will get after I have given the tax. Clear? You understand the purpose? So you are calling the function. Now this will go to this function 40. So number of hours is equal to 40 now. Now 40 will be replaced here. 40 into 15. So you will get something for pay pre-tax. After that, you apply some more operations to calculate what you will get after you have paid the tax. Now, this is returned. Returned to whom? Returned to here, pay underscore full time. Because here you have called the function. So, this return will come back here. And now you can print this pay underscore full time. Okay, I hope now this is completely clear to you. Why we need a function, how to define a function, and how to reuse this function again and again. Okay. Maybe someone has worked 30 hours, someone has worked 25 hours. So you don't need to repeat this code again and again. You just change the argument. Okay, and you call the function and you get the value. Okay, now see, to quickly calculate pay based on a different number of work hours worked, you need to supply with a different number. Exactly, for 32 hours or for anything. Okay, so this person who have worked for 32 hours will get this amount after he or she has paid the tax. Fine. Because you wrote a function, you can calculate pay for different hours without having to rewrite all the code over again. Exactly. Functions can help you to avoid errors in your code and save a lot of time. You don't need to write again and again, so your time is saved and less chances of mistake. In general, when coding, you should aim to write as little as possible. Okay, because each time you type out a calculation, it's another opportunity that you will do any typing mistake, you will do any error. Python has to calculate more, it will take so much of time. So these are the advantages of repeating the code. Okay, instead you just write as little as possible, as organized as possible, and for that we use function. Fine. Now we will understand the term variables defined inside the function body cannot be accessed outside of the function. Whenever you declare any variable inside the function, like see here, this is inside the function, this is inside the function. This variable cannot be accessed outside. Okay. For instance, see if I want to know print pay underscore after tax, where it is defined? It is defined here. So if you try to access this outside the variable, you will get an error. See, it will say name error because Python cannot find that. That is written in the function. So that is alive in the function only. Once you get out of the function, that variable is dead for Python. So Python will not be able to find. So Python will show you the error. Okay, so you understand the scope. Once it is defined inside the function, you cannot access outside the function. Okay, you have to remember this. Now you will get the same error if you try to print other variables. For this reason, if you need any information from a function, you need to make sure that it appears in the return statement at the end of the function. If you want anything, you have to return it. Okay. Then only I can access it. If you have just declared it inside, used it inside, and then uh, forget about it, then you have come outside the function. Now you cannot access what is there inside. It's like think that you have a room. So whatever you have kept in the room, you cannot access it from outside. You have to come inside the room. You have to use those items. Then you are just leaving this in the room and you are going out. It's like that only. If you want to access, then you have to take it outside from the room. Okay, clear. Now we refer to variable scope as the part of the code where it is accessible. Variables defined inside a function have a local scope of in that function only. You can use that in the room only, so it's local. However, as you have seen, variables defined outside all functions have a global scope and can be accessed anywhere. What is outside of the room? That is global. Anybody can access that. Now, functions with multiple arguments. So far, you have learned how to define a function with just one argument. To define a function with multiple arguments, you only need to add more arguments inside the parenthesis in the function head and separate them with a comma. We do this with get underscore pay underscore with underscore more underscore inputs function below, which calculates the weekly paycheck based on three arguments of hours, hourly age, tax bracket. See, this is the function name, and what we are doing here, we are passing three arguments. Okay, I told you that it's not that only one argument will be there. It may be zero, it may be more than one. So here I am passing three arguments because I need three of them as inputs whenever I call the function. Okay. So before tax pay, see this they have given comments in a nice way. Before the tax, you get paid number of hours into hourly wage. Fine. But after the tax, you have to pay this one pre-tax into 1 minus the tax bracket, whatever your tax bracket is. So what we have done here, earlier we considered that the tax bracket is 12%. That was fixed. Now they have said that please don't make it fixed. It may change. If your income is lower, you will be in a lower tax slab. If your income is higher, then you have to be in different tax slab. Okay. So for low income, you will give 10%. For high income, you will give 20%, 30%. Okay. So this is also a variable. So we are not fixing it. Instead, we are taking it as an argument and we are using this in this way. Okay. Now then to call the function, you need to provide one value for each input. Whenever you call the function, I told you that you have to provide three inputs and separated by comma. So see here, 40 is the number of hours, 24 is the hourly wage, tax bracket is 1 to 2%. The order you have provided, it will be assigned in the same order. Okay. So if someone has worked for 40 hours, that person get paid $24 per hour and they have to give 22% tax bracket. So you get what he will get after giving the tax. Okay. So you can see that a single line can solve problems for many people. You can take any employee, you can take their number of hours, how much they get per hour, and what is their income tax slab. You just put all these three and you calculate this amount. Okay. Now see, the following code cell gives the same result for different people as I have said. Now depending on how we plan to use, it can be more useful than the original function because it addresses more cases instead of potentially incorrectly assuming the hourly wage and tax bracket. The new function allows the user to specify the correct values. But if you are sure the hourly wage and tax bracket won't need to change, the new function is just more complicated than necessary. In general, when defining functions, you will need to consider how much flexibility you need based on your case. Okay, so depending on your problem, you may create the flexibility. Now, next, functions with no arguments. Note that it's possible to define a function with no arguments. We have understood how to create a function with one argument, how to create with multiple arguments. But we can also create without any arguments. Like if I create print underscore hello, see here, print underscore hello, and I am writing something general. Hello, you, good morning. So if you call the function print underscore hello, this function will be called, and here it will be printed hello you, good morning. Okay. Now the course is short and meant as an introduction to programming. So we won't cover everything you need to know about functions in this tutorial. You will learn even more about functions in Python course. Okay. Later you will understand. Leave it. So now it's your turn. Write your own functions in Python. So first, this one is for setting up the notebook. Let it run. After that, our question starts. See, in the house prices, advanced regression technique competition, you need to use information like number of bedroom and bathroom to predict the price of a house. Okay, if I want to predict the price of a house, I want to know what is the price of a house. I have to consider number of bedroom, number of bathroom. Okay, depending on these things, my price will vary. Now see, in the next code cell, create a function get expected cost. I am trying to derive the expected cost of the house prices. Okay. So I have number of beds, number of bedroom and bath, number of bathroom. Two arguments. See, beds and baths. Okay. Now it should return the expected cost of a house with that number of bedrooms and bathrooms. Assume that the expected cost for a house with 0 bedroom and 0 bathroom is 80,000. Though this is absurd, but think that this is the base price. Now each bedroom adds 30,000 to expected cost. Each bathroom adds 10,000 to the expected cost. Okay. Now, for instance, they have given some example. So what you have to do, you just have to write value equal to, they have defined the function for you. Def get expected cost, the function name, beds and baths. These are the arguments. Now you have to calculate here. So value equal to, first I have to write the base price plus each bedroom adds 30,000. So we can write beds into 30,000. If two bedroom, then 2 into 30,000. 3 bedroom, 3 into 30,000. Plus, I have to add the bathroom also, 10,000 for each bathroom. 5 baths into 10,000. For one, 1 into 10,000. For two, 2 into 10,000. This is the base price. This is for bedroom. This is for bathroom. Fine, I think it's fine. Let me run this. Uh, why is that so? Baths, it's defined. Oh, I don't know why it happened. Okay, this is correct. Fine, we have done first one. If you want, you just uncomment and check it. Fine. Question 2. You are thinking about buying a home and want to get an idea about how much you will spend based on the number of bedrooms and bathrooms. So you are trying to decide between four different options. You have many options and you want to know the best option. Option 1, house with 2 bedroom, 3 bathroom. 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom. 3 bedroom, 4 bathroom. Okay, so you have four options and you want to know their values so that you can decide which one will be best one. So for option 1, you have to call this function get expected cost. Okay, so this function. So I can just copy and paste it here. So what I am doing, I am calling the function and here I have to pass first option 2 bedroom, so 2 comma 3 bathroom 3. Okay, so what will happen? This function will be called, bed will be assigned to 2, baths will be assigned to 3. Okay, now next, same way, I'll just copy this, paste, paste, paste. Second option is 3 bedroom, 2 bathroom. Exactly opposite. Okay, fine. Third one is 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom. 3 bedroom, 3 bathroom. Next one is 3 bedroom, 4 bathroom. Bathroom's more than bedroom. Fine, whatever it is. Now see. Okay, so you get the different cost values. Okay, so you just pass the arguments, you call the function, you do the operations again and again. Now, depending on your budget, you can select which house you want to buy. Fine. Okay, now next question. You are a home decorator, okay, and you would like to use Python to streamline some of your work. Specifically, you are creating a tool that you intend to use to calculate the cost of painting a room. You want to know what will be the cost for painting a room. Okay, so how to calculate this? square feet of walls, total square feet of walls to be painted, square feet of ceiling to be painted, number of square feet that you can cover with 1 gallon of paint. Okay, and what is the cost? These are the things you will need to calculate the cost. Fine, let's see. It should return the cost in dollars. Putting 1 coat of paint on all walls and the ceiling, assume that you can buy the exact amount of paint that you need. So you can buy partial gallons and you can buy that exact amount instead of needing to buy 8 gallons. Okay. Okay. So first you have to uh, define the function. I want the cost value. So first I have to calculate the total amount square feet of walls plus square feet of ceiling. Right. So I'll copy paste plus square feet of ceiling. Okay, this is the total square feet where you have to paint. Now, now I have to now I want the number of I got the number of square feet and I want to know the number of square feet that I can cover with 1 gallon of paint. So I have to write square feet per gallon. Okay, so I get the total square feet, then per gallon how much I can cover, and then I can write total cost per gallon. Okay, so what I am doing here, first I am calculating total number, then I am dividing it square feet per gallon. So I will get that how many gallons of uh, paint I need. Then I am I am multiplying it with cost per gallon to get the value. Okay, fine. Now if you want, you can check the solution also. Okay, they have done 3 steps. Fine, no problem. You get the point. Now you use the function you defined to calculate the cost of applying one code in a room. Now you have the information that in a room, 432 square feet of walls, 144 square feet of ceiling. Ceiling. Now you want the cost. So you have to call this function, this one. So uh, call this. Here you will pass square feet of walls. How much? 432. Ceiling, 144. And 1 gallon of paint cover 400 square feet and cost is $15. So the cost will be 15 and square feet per gallon is 400. Now let's see. Sorry, this one will not be here because I'm calling the function that is used only for defining the function. Okay, great. Now the next question. Now you say you can no longer buy fractions of a gallon. Okay, I was buying some fractions, suppose. But here they said that this is not how you can buy a paint. You have to buy complete 5 gallon, whatever you need. Okay, for this scenario, what you have to do? You have to, you will create a new function, get actual cost that uses the same input, calculates the cost. One function that you will need to use to do this is math.sil. Math.sil function, this is a ready-made function you are not creating. This will create a ceiling. That means this will convert this 4.3 to 5. Now we demonstrate usage of this function in the code cell below. It takes number of inputs and rounds the number up to the nearest integer. Okay, so whatever, if you give 5.3, it will be 6. If you give 6.5, it will be 7. You don't give the point, but you take the nearest integer value. Okay. Now see, run the next code cell to test the function for yourself. Feel free to change the value of test value and make sure that it returns the number you expect. They are saying that just check. For 2.17, it has taken 3. For if I provide 2.07, see 3. If I give 3.07, 4. Okay, so you get my point. Just the nearest value it will take. Math.cell. CAIL. Okay. Now use the next code cell to define the function. So get actual cost. This is the function. Same function, and you will use this function to do this. When answering this question, note that it's completely valid to define a function that makes use of another function. They are saying that you can define a function and inside that also you can write a function. This function, I'm not defining this function because this is already there in the Python library. If it's not clear, no worries. There are some functions which are already there in the library. We just can call them directly. We just can import them directly. Okay. And some functions we can create by ourselves. So functions are of two types. One which is already in the Python library, retained by the developers for your ready-made usage. Second one is you are creating by yourself. It's like that you have some frozen foods and you have some fresh vegetables. So you can cook by yourself also from the fresh vegetables, or if you want, you just can take that fridged food and you just microwave it. Okay, it's like that only. Now, uh, where were we? For instance, we can define the roundup and divide it by 3. That make use of math.cell function. So what is our job here? We have to calculate the cost with using the cell function. Okay, let's see what is there in the hint. The only change you need to make is method to round up the number of gallons you need to purchase. Oh, okay. So what we can do, the same things. Just let me copy this one, and uh, what I have to do, I have to convert it into math dot to round up the number of gallons. Okay, you have to convert the number of gallons. So I have to write math dot cell, and then I will pass the whole thing. Okay. So first total places where you have to paint, then divide it by square foot per gallon. That means how many gallons you will need. Now I am changing it to math.cells. So one more bracket. Okay. Then I am adding it with cost per gallon. So if I get 4.3 here, 4.3 gallon, 4.5 gallon, then it will be converted to 5 gallon. Then I will add the cost. Um, okay, it was not needed. Okay, great. So once your function is verified, you can run. You can just let me show you. We are just passing some values. This is the wall, this is the roof, this is the cost per gallon. Sorry, 15 is the cost per gallon. This is how many gallons you need. Okay. Sorry, square feet per gallon. How many gallons you need, you have to calculate. Larger roof. Okay, so we have finished this. Next one is about data types. Okay, so I hope you have understood what is a function. Function are some defined code so that you can organize. You don't need to repeat the same code again and again. Instead, you are keeping it in a single place and you are using it multiple times. Okay, and function is of two types. One is user defined. User defined means you are creating the function, and another one is already retained by the Python developers like math.cell. You just have to call the function. Okay, what are the advantages? There are many advantages we have understood, and that's all. That's the thing we have learned for now. Okay, so meet in our next video. Till then, bye. Happy learning. Hello everyone, welcome back to this channel. Let's continue our course Intro to Programming. Okay, this is a course that is provided in Kaggle Learn. As of now, we have completed arithmetic and variables and functions. Today we are going to understand about data types. First, I will read the tutorial line by line and I will explain you the things. Then we will do the exercise. Okay. Okay. Now, whenever you create a variable in Python, it has a value with a corresponding data type. Whenever you are creating a variable you know how to create, you just have to give a name so that you can store it and you can reuse it later. So whenever you create, it must be a type of data. Sometimes it may be 4.3, sometimes it may be 4, or you may write hello Python. Whatever you write, whatever your data is, that belongs to a particular data type. That belongs to a particular type. Okay. Now in this lesson, we will talk about those types. Let's read. There are many different data types such as integer, floats, boolean, and strings. If you remember while we are studying function, there we come across that math.cell function where you used 4.3 to convert it into the integer. So whenever you are using 4.3, 3.5, 9.50, like these things, that means they are float. And when you have discrete number like 10, 11, 12, these are kind of integer. So there are different data types and we will study about them. Okay. Now here in this course, we will study about floats, boolean, strings, integer. We will learn. And these are the small subset of available data types. There are also other dictionaries like sets, lists, tuples. These are also different kind of data types used in Python. But they have said that they have not included in this chapter. First, we will learn about the basic data types. Okay. Now, data types are important because they determine what kind of actions you can do with them. For instance, you can divide two floats, but you cannot divide two strings. Suppose I want to divide Hello Python divided by I love Python. Is it possible? No, it's not possible. But if I want to divide 4 by 2, 12.0 by 2.5, those are possible. So that's why data types are important. Like what you want to do with them. For that, you have to keep it in mind that every data has its own type and every operations cannot be performed on any kind of data type. Okay, they are related somehow. Like cat slash dog, that is not possible. Exactly. Now to avoid errors, we need to make sure that actions match the data types that we have. Okay. So next is integer. The first data type we will study about integers, and most of the times we will come across with this data type. So integers are number without any fractional part. I said it is a discrete number like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, any number 80, 85, 90. It doesn't have that fractional part. It doesn't have that point. Okay. Negative numbers also like -1, -5, -15, 0 also. Okay. So positive number, negative number or 0. They belong to integers. They don't have that fraction part. Now see in the code cell below x is an integer because x equal to 14. Whenever you declare x equal to 14, automatically Python will understand that this is an integer because it is a discrete number. It doesn't have any fraction. It is a positive number without any fraction. So it is an integer. Now, how can we check that what is the data type? For that, we can use the type function. Same type function is written by the Python developers. You have not written about the type function. You have just called the function here to check the data type. It will show you the data type of X. So we have written type in the bracket. We have mentioned X. Okay. And it has been passed through print function. So if you run it, the output will be this is for this one 14 printed and this is for the data type class int. Okay. So in the output above, class int refers to integer data type. Next one is floats. Floats are number with fractional parts. So what is the difference between integer and float? Integer doesn't have the fractional part and float has the fractional part. And they can have many numbers after decimal. Like see, pi equal to 3.41459. You know that pi has this big value, so you can add any number. But it must have a fraction. It must have a point. Okay, so they have printed the type. See here, print type of the this variable. This is a variable where you have kept this fractional number. So it will say that this is a float. Okay. Now we can also specify a float with a fraction. If I write in this way, 22 divided by 7, then also Python will understand because it will divide and it will see that there is a fraction. So it will treat it as a float. Okay. Now one function is particularly useful for fractions is the round function. This is also a built-in function. Built-in function means written by the Python developer. What it does, it lets you round a number to a specified number of decimal places. Like see, here almost pi equal to 22 by 7. So it will be a big number 7.31415 whatever it is. Now you want only two decimal places after the point part. Okay, so for that you use round almost pi comma 5. It means round is a function. You know round is a function, built-in function and given parenthesis inside that you pass what? You pass the arguments, the inputs to the function. What are the inputs? The almost pi variable. What is almost underscore pi? That is 22 divided by 7. Now comma 5 means what round will do? Round will first calculate this, then it will consider 5 points after the 5 numbers after the point. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so up to 5. And after that, as it is 7, so what happens if the number is greater than 5? 5 will be 6. Okay, so that's why you will get 3.14286. 5 places. 5 decimal places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And why it is 6? Because the next number is greater than 5. So round function is very useful while dealing with the fractions. If you write 2, then it will be 3.14. If you write 3, then it will be 3.142. Sorry, it will be 3.143 because the next number is 8 greater than 5. Okay. And if you use the type function, then it will show you that it is a float. Clear? Next, whenever you write a number with a decimal point, Python recognizes it as a float data type. Now, suppose if you write 1 point, if you write 1.0, 1.00, though it is 1, but as you have mentioned the point, Python will treat this as float. See, Python type is float because you have just written 1 point. 1 point means 1.0 means it is equal to 1. But as you have mentioned the point, this is a float. There is a fraction. Okay, next one is Boolean. Boolean means true or false. Like if it is 1 or it is 0. 0 is for false and 1 is for true. Okay. Now suppose I write z underscore 1 equal to true and now I print this. So true will be printed and what is the type? Now the type is bool. See here bool. That means it is a boolean value. So it has two values, true and false. Suppose you write false. Now if you print the type, this is a bool. Okay. Now, booleans are used to represent the true value of an expression. Like, see here, if I write 1 less than 2, what will be the output? What do you think? 1 less than 2? This is true, so the output is true. Now, if I print z underscore 3, see, it will print true value. Okay, and what is the type? Boolean. If I write 1 greater than 2, then output will be false. No, that is not correct. So, z underscore 3 will become false and that time the output will be false and the class will be bool. Clear? For this one, 5 less than 3, I have already said this will be false. Okay. Now we can switch the value of a boolean by using not. So not true is equivalent to false and not false becomes true. If I write not in front of true or false, then it will take the exact opposite. Like here, if I write z underscore 4, z underscore 4, this is false. You can see this is false. But in front of that, I have used a keyword that is not. Now, when you apply this not, that means it will take the opposite one. So, false will become true. So, z underscore 5 will become true. Now, if you try to print this, it will be true. Okay, and the type is bool. So, you get these are the things you can do with boolean. Okay. Many more you will come across as you study. Next data type is string. String is a collection of characters that may be alphabet, punctuation, numerical digits or symbols and they are kept in quotation mark. Like if you have written hello, comma Python and you have kept them in quotation, you can see then it will be treated as a string. See hello Python, what is the class? String. str. str means string value. Okay. Even if you write 2 or 3 or 5, those are integer you think. But if you keep them in the quotation, then Python will treat them as a string because it can be anything alphabet, punctuation, numerical digit, symbol. Okay, but they are contained in quotation mark. Then only Python will treat them as a string data type. Okay, and here they have told you about len function. You see, len of w. That means length of this variable. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. So the output will be 14. Okay. Because it has included everyone like the space, the comma, the exclamation mark. Okay. Everything. That's why the output is 14. Okay. Quotations are not included while calculating the length. Okay. Quotations are not length. They are to tell that it is a string. Now, one special type of string is the empty string. See here, I have just given the quotation, but I have not written anything inside it. So, this is also a string, but it is an empty string. So, what will be the length? If you print the len function, if you call the len function and print it, then it will be 0. Okay, but the type is string. See here, the type is string. Okay. Now, if you put a number in the quotation mark, and this I have already told you, this will be treated as a string. Okay, though it is a float, right? But you have kept them in quotation mark, so Python will treat this as a string. But if we want, we can also convert this into integer or float. For that, we have to use float function, or we can use int function to convert them into an integer. Okay. Now, see, but that doesn't mean that you can convert hello Python to a float or integer, because it is not possible. But in case of number, you can convert them into integer or float depending on your need. Okay, you'll see here. Like my number, here it is a string, but I have used the float function. I have passed the my number, then I am storing it into also underscore my underscore number. Now if I print it, so see that this is the output. 1.12321, the same output. But when you check the type, then you can see that this was a string before, but now it has been converted to float because I have used the float function. It is used to convert it into a float. Okay. Now just like you can add two numbers, you can also add two strings if it results in a longer string that combines the two original strings by concatenating them. See, one is ABC, one string is DEF. If I use the plus symbol, then it will just add them. How will it add? By concatenating them. See, A, B, C, D, E, F. So it is also possible in Python. But what is the type? The type is string. So string concatenation is also possible. Okay. But if you want to do the subtraction or division, then it is not possible. Na? You can think logically that what will be the output, then nothing will be output. Here we can understand that the strings will be added. Okay, you can also multiply. If you just write this one, ABC into 3, then what will happen? Then ABC will be printed 3 times. See, ABC, ABC, ABC. Okay, so this operator works and this one also works. But you can't apply subtraction or division. Okay. But see here, tell me why this is an error. ABC into 3 point. Then why it is an error? Because here 3 is not a 3 is not an integer. Instead, we have used 3 point. Whenever you use the point, the decimal point, that means this is a float. So you cannot add, multiply, or do anything with a string and with a float. So you cannot multiply it with a float. You can multiply with 3. That means that it will be printed 3 times, but you cannot multiply with float. Okay. So it will just give you a type error. Okay. Now in this error, the sequence is the string ABC and the non-int of type float is the float 3 point. So the error message will be rewarded to say can't multiply string by float, can't multiply sequence by float. Okay. Many types of error Python provides you so that you can debug. Like we read name error. You remember that if you make any typing mistake, then Python will tell you that name is not defined. That will generate a name error. Here type error, because type conversion is not possible because it is because it is float, so you cannot just multiply it with float, so that's why it is saying type error. Okay, now write your code. Let's do the exercise. For this you have to first set up the notebook, this one. Okay, now our job. Question 1. You have seen how to convert a float to an integer with the int function. Try it out by yourself. See, here they have given a float y equal to 1 point. That means it's a float. Now if you write print y, print type of y, what happens? See, y will be printed. So 1.0 printed. What is the type? Float, because you have point. Now you convert the float to integer by using int function. If you use int function, it will be converted to int. If you use float function, it will be converted to float. So here I have converted it into an integer. So z has become an integer. So what is now z holding? Now z is holding only 1. Okay, it has removed the point part. So now print z. So 1 is printed, type is float. Suppose if I write 1.5, then tell me what will be the output here, what will be the value of z. Then z will become, see, z will become 1. Z will delete this 0.5. The fraction part will be deleted. Z will take only the integer part, only the part just before the decimal point. Okay. Now in this case, the float you are using has no numbers after the decimal, but what happens when you try to convert a float with a fractional part to an integer? That's what we have just done, that it will be deleted. And how does the outcome of the int function change for positive and negative numbers? use the next code cell to investigate this. They have given already here. So just delete this. If I try to print this one, what will be the output? You try to tell. It will be 1 because the next part will be deleted. Fine. If I delete this one, then what will be the output? Same. What about this one? There is a negative value. So it will be -3. What about the next one? It will be -2. Because integer can be anything, positive value, negative value, 0, but it will not hold the decimal part. So simply the decimal part, the fractional part will be deleted. All other things will remain same. Okay. So you have the answer here. Just check it. It's done. Now question 2. In the tutorial, you learned about booleans, true and false. In addition to integer, floats, string, boolean is also there. Now, what happens when you multiply a boolean of any of these data types? What happens when you multiply an integer or float by true? What happens if I multiply print 3 into true? What happens when you multiply them false? How does the answer change if they are if the numbers are positive or negative? What happens when you multiply a string by true or false? Okay, if I run it, you will be able to see the answer. See, because I told you what is the value of true. True means 1, so 3 into 1, so 3. Okay, minus 3.1 into 1, so minus 3.1. What is the ABC into false? Here false means false is 0. So you are multiplying something with 0, so it will become an empty string. So the type is class of string. Now what will be the length? It is a 0 0 string, empty string, so length is 0. See, this is 0. Okay. So once you have an answer, run the code cell to see the solution. Okay. See, when you multiply an integer or float, it will take true. It just returns the same integer or float because you are multiplying with 1. That's what I have said. But when you are multiplying with false, it will return 0. So both for positive, negative, and if you multiply it with a string, then it will remain same because you are multiplying it 1 with 1, and if you multiply it with false, then it will return an empty string because the string will be of length 0. Okay. Now next question. In this question, you will build up your work from the previous exercise to write a function that estimate the value of a house. Okay, fine. Get expected cost. You have to create this function. It will take three variables: bed, number of bedroom, number of bathroom, and whether it has basement or not. Depending on these three inputs, your price will vary. Okay. The expected cost for a house with 0 bedroom and 0 bathroom, no basement, base value 80,000, and every bedroom adds 30,000, every bathroom adds 10,000, and if there is a basement, then it will be 40,000. So you have to create a function which will take three inputs, and there are some conditions. Depending on them, the house price range will vary. Okay, let's see. Let's do this one. Okay, you can use the hint also. So the expected cost is, first you have to write the base value because it will be there, plus each bedroom into 30,000. So here the input is beds. So beds into 30,000. Fine. Now baths. Each bathroom adds 10,000. So baths into 10,000 plus has basement, has underscore basement into 40,000. Okay. So now if I run it, see. Okay. So that is how you can calculate the value. If you want, you can check the solution also. Okay, fine. Now we will continue our study of Boolean arithmetic. For this, your task is to provide a description of what happens when you add booleans. Tell me what will be the output. False, I have said you that this is 0. So 0 plus 0, the output will be 0. True plus false, let me run it then. Okay, now true plus false. Okay. True is 1, false is 0. So 1 plus 0, the output will be 1. Next one, false 0 plus true, 0 plus 1, so the output will be 1. True plus true, 1. This is also 1, so 1 plus 1, 2. This is 0 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1. So 1 plus 1 plus 1, 3. This is 0, so it will be 3. Okay. Once you have an answer, run the code cell below to see the solution. Okay. Okay. Now question 5. You have an online shop, okay, where you sell rings and custom engravings. You offer both gold plated and solid gold rings. Gold plated rings have a base cost of $50 and you charge $7 per engraved unit. Okay, but solid gold rings have a base cost of $100 and you charge $10 per engraved unit. Okay, spaces and punctuations are counted as engraved units. Okay, now write a function cost of the project. So cost of project is the function name. It takes two arguments. One is engraving, another one is solid gold. Okay, now it's to return the cost of the project. The question should be fairly challenging and you may need a hint. Okay, then take a hint. Let's see. Here are two options. Either it uses solid gold or does not. So with this in mind, you can structure your solution like this. Solid gold, if it uses solid gold, then solid gold into, you are taking it as an input to the function. So solid gold into whatever the value. What is the value for solid gold? $100. Base cost $100 and $10 per engraved unit. Okay. Now if not, if it is not solid gold, then for that option into which one? Gold plated ring. So base cost $50 and you charge $7. Now you need to figure out how to fill the blanks. Okay. If solid gold equal to true, then not solid gold equal to false. So this part will automatically become 0 that time, right? And if solid gold equal to false, when this is false, so this part will automatically become 0. So you will only treat the not solid gold part, that is gold plated part. Okay. So multiply an integer by true is equivalent to multiply it by 1. And multiply an integer by false is equivalent to multiplying it by 0. Okay, that we have already understood. So what we will write here right now, cost equal to, first it will be solid underscore gold into, you have to use the base price 100 plus what was the per unit, $10. So 10 into engravings, length of engravings. Okay, now plus not solid gold, so I will use not keyword, then solid gold. Not will make true false, false true, it will just make the opposite. Okay, now into, sorry, not solid gold, into, here the base price is 50 plus $7 into length of engravings. Engraving, not S. Okay, now let me run this. You can find the cost in this way. Okay, now run the next code to calculate the cost of engraving Charlie plus Denver on a solid group ring. Cost of project. There I am sending the engravings length Charlie and Denver. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Okay. And this is true. That means it is going for solid gold. Solid gold means this one. This one will become 1. True 1. So this one will be calculated and this part will be 0. So this part will be ignored. So 1 into 100 plus 10 into length of engravings. Length of engravings was 13, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 exactly. 13. So 13 into 10, 130. 130 plus 100, 230. So the answer will be 230. Why 240? Oh, sorry, plus is ignored. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, so it will be 14 into 10, 140 plus 100. So it will be 240. Okay, so you understand how it is working. Now this one, project 2 equal to cost of project. To calculate the cost of engravings of this. I want to engrave this one. So what is the length here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And here I am giving the false. Here I am giving false means this part will be 0. This is false. So this is 0. So this part will be 0. So this part will be deleted. I'm using not solid gold, gold plated. This will become 1. Not of 0. That means 1. So this one will be calculated. So what will be the value? Again, sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it will be 10. So 10 into 7, 70. 70 plus 50. 70 plus 50 means 120. Let's see the answer. Okay. So I hope you have understood the things. Okay. So this was a small topic. Uh, Data types. You can work with integer without fraction, float with fraction, boolean, yes or no, true or false, 0 or 1, and strings. That means that is a text. Okay. You can convert string to float or string to integer also. Depends. Okay. So these are the things we have done for now. So happy learning. Meet in our next video. Till then, bye. Hey everyone, welcome back to this channel. Let's continue intro to programming. We have completed arithmetic and variables, functions, and data types. Today we are going to read conditions and conditional statements. First, I will read the tutorial, explain you the things, then we will do the exercise. Okay, let's read. You have already seen that when you change the input value to a function, you often get a different output. For instance, consider an add underscore 5 function that just adds 5 to any numbers and returns the result. So let's imagine that there is a function called add underscore 5. So whatever input you provide, it will give you output after adding 5. Okay. So if I pass 7 as input, then what will be the output? 12. If I pass 8, then what will be the output? 8 plus 5, 13. So whatever your input is, the output is same. No matter what the input is, the function always performs the same. Okay, sorry, the output is not same. The function performs is the same. It always adds 5. Okay. But you might instead need a function that performs an action that depends on the input. So suppose you want a function where the operation will be dependent on the input. Just for instance, see if there is a function add 3 or 8 that adds 3 if the input is less than 10 and adds 8 if the input is greater than 10. So here you can see that there are two kind of operations. If the input is less than 10, then it will add 3. But if the input is greater than 10, then it will add 8. So there are two kinds of operations you need. Now, if I provide 1, then the output will be 4, 1 plus 3. If I provide 11, then the output will be 11 plus 8, 19. Okay, so the operations are different and it is dependent on the input. Okay, so in this lesson, we are going to learn how to use conditions and conditional statements to modify how your functions run. Okay, so there are two conditions, less than 10, greater than 10, and depending on that condition, you find your output. The operations are different depending on the input. So, how to apply those conditions and conditional statements? That is our motive. Okay. Conditions. In programming, conditions are statements that are either true or false. Like the outcome will be either 1 or 0. There are many different ways to write conditions, but some of the most common ways of writing conditions just comparing two values. Suppose you check between 2 and 3. Now, if you write in this way, what will be the output? The output will be false because this is not correct. Now, Python identifies this as false since 2 is not greater than 3. Okay. You can also use conditions to compare the values of two variables. See here, where underscore 1 has a value of 1. Okay. Where underscore 2 has a value of 2. Okay. No problem. These are variable names. Now we check if this one is greater than this one. See, sorry. Now we check if var underscore 1 is less than 1. Now I want to check whether the value inside this variable is less than 1. So you can write in this way. It will either give you true or give you false depending on what is the value inside var underscore 1 variable. Okay. And we check if var underscore 2 is greater than or equal to var underscore 1. I'll also check this one that whether the value in this variable is greater than the value in this variable. Okay, so you can write conditions in this way. then it will give you either false or true. Okay. Now these are the symbols equals to check whether they are equal or not. Greater than equals to check whether it is equal or greater than. Same, less than equal to, does not equal to. These are the symbols you can use while performing any conditions check. Okay. Now important note, when you check two values are equal, make sure you use the equals to operator, not the single one. Why so? Because single one is for assignment. That means you are giving the value. See here. Single one is for assigning the value. That means I am telling that keep one in this variable. But when I give equals to, that means please check whether they are equal or not equal. Okay. Now where underscore one equals to one checks whether the value is one, but only equals to means set the value to one. That's what I have said. Now conditional statements. Conditional statements use conditions to modify how your function runs. They check the value of a condition, and if the condition evaluates to true, then certain block will be executed or the code will not run. This means I will give a condition and I will check if it is true, then do some operation. If not, then don't do. Okay. Now where that we will understand while doing examples. See. Okay, now if statements. The simplest type of conditional statement is an if statement. You can see the example. See here. Def means you are going to define a function. This is the function name. This is the input to the function. First, a message is set. Normal temperature. Okay, whatever the temperature is, first it is saved. Then the function accepts a body temperature in Celsius as input. Okay. Now initially the message is set to normal temperature. Okay, initially. Then there is a condition check. What is the condition? If temp greater than 38. So if temp greater than 38 is true, then the body temperature is greater than 38 degrees centigrade. Then the message will be fever. Otherwise, there will be no message update. Okay. So you understand that we are providing a condition here. If the condition satisfies, then this will be printed. This will be set. If not, then this will be ignored. Okay. So see here the function def to define the function name, input. This is the syntax. First and initial message is set normal temperature. If it is greater than 38, then the message will be reset to fever. If not, it will remain as normal temperature. Then you return the message, whatever the message is, whether normal temperature or if the code has been executed, it has been replaced by fever. So that message will be returned. Return to calling code who have called the function. Okay. Now in the next code cell, we call the function when the temperature is 37. So here I am giving input as 37. It will go here. It will be passed here. The message will be normal temperature. Now the condition will be checked. Checked by if. If is the keyword. So if temp greater than 38, 37 greater than 38. No. So these things will not be executed. So the message will be returned. What was the message? Normal temperature. Okay. But in case of 39, this code will be executed and the message will be fever. Okay. So see, the output will change depending on the input. Okay. So you are checking a condition. Condition by giving if statement. Note that there are two levels of indentation. The first level of indentation is because we always need to indent the code block inside a function. Okay, so what is indentation? As I told you that Python follows some rules. Like see here, whenever you have written message inside the function, there are spaces. Okay, you can see. That means all these things are inside the function. So Python have some rules. Those are known as indentation. And while writing Python code, you have to follow the indentation. Otherwise, you may face some syntax error. Okay, and some guidance are also there. Those are not mandatory, but you are suggested to follow those rules so that it increases the readability, so that someone else can understand what you have read over there. Okay. And what is the second level of indentation? See here, after if, when you write the message, there are spaces. Okay. So this means this complete message is under this function, but this message, I mean this line of code is under this conditional statement. So whatever operations you want to perform, you have to follow this indentation, like spaces, spaces, spaces. Okay. Then all those codes will come under these conditions. If the condition satisfied, all those code will be executed. What is Note that because the return statement is not intended under if, it is always executed. They want to say that this one is not inside if. See, it has come out from if statement. So it is not inside the if statement. So that's why it will always execute, whether it's satisfied or not. If it is satisfied, then only these things will be impacted. If it's satisfied or if it's not satisfied, this one will always work. Okay. Now, if else statements. We can use else statements to run the code if a statement is false. Here we have discussed that if it is true, that code will be executed. But what if it is not true? And I want some other code to be executed. Okay, I want to say if the temperature is greater than 38, then message fever. Else message normal temperature. So for that you have to use the else keyword. Okay. So if keyword, if the condition satisfied, you will execute this line of code. But if not satisfied, then it will go to the else part. So else this condition will be, this code will be executed. Okay. Same here. Def keyword, function, input, if condition, if satisfied, then it will be executed, else it will be executed. Okay, when this line is executed, if temperature greater than 38, this either generates true or it generates false. So depending on true or false, if it is true, then this will be executed because this is indented inside the if statement. Okay. If not, automatically it will be passed to else. This one will not execute at all because the condition doesn't satisfy. The temperature is 37. It will not satisfy. It will go to the else part. Okay. Here it will execute this one. Okay. That is same like this one. You can see this one and this one have same purpose but written in a different way. There I have not used the else function, but here I have used the else function. Okay. You can pass with 37, then you can see that it will be normal temperature. Okay, fine. Now, if else if and else statements, we can use else if. It's in short we write ELIF, but it is else if to check multiple conditions. Here we have checked two conditions, but maybe there are three, four, as many number of conditions. For that, you have to use this else if. Okay, see here. This is the function evaluate underscore temp whatever. This is the function name and you are providing the input as usual. Now your first condition. If temperature is greater than 38, then I will say fever. Condition not satisfied, we'll go to another condition. Else if means another condition. Now check this one. Temp greater than 35, true or false. Whatever it is, if it is true, this one will be executed. If not, it will go to the else part. Now the message will be low temperature. Okay, so depending on the input, it will check different conditions and accordingly the message will be set. See the indentation, they are all inside, codes are all inside their conditions. Here one level of indentation and there is second level of indentation. Let's read. First checks if temperature greater than 38, then the message is set to fever. As long as the message has not already been set, the function then checks if temperature greater than 35, then it will be normal temperature. Okay. If still no message has been set, that means this is also not satisfied. Then it will go to the else part. Okay. So you can think of else if as saying, okay, that the previous condition was false. So let's check whether it is greater than 10 greater than 35. It's like the temperature is 37. So here it is 37. The condition is failed. Okay, so that one is failed. Let's check again whether it's greater than 35. So you check it again. Again false, then it will go to the else part. If it is satisfied, okay, 37 greater than 35, then in normal temperature will be printed. These things will not be executed. Okay, that's what they have said. Now you send with 36, you send with 34, and you check what are the output. Now example calculations. In the example so far, conditional statements were used to decide how to set the values of variables. But you can also use conditional statements to perform different calculations. In this next example, say you live in a country with only two tax brackets. Everyone earning less than 12,000 pays 25%, earning more than 12,000 pays 30%. Okay, two conditions. Now see, first you will send the earnings, whether 12,000, 15,000, 20,000, whatever your input is. First condition greater than 12,000. If it is true, then this will be executed. 0.25 into earnings. 25% taxes they have to pay. Okay. No, not less than 12,000. More than 12,000, then it has to pay this much of tax. Okay. So if one condition satisfies, this will be the code. Else, there will be another code. Okay. Then you will have to return the value, whatever the value is. If it is executed here, then also you have to return the value. If it is executed, the else part is executed, then also you have to return the value. Okay. The next code cell uses the function. Just see that I am sending 9,000, I am sending 15,000. For 9,000, this one will be executed. For 15,000, else part will be executed. They will never be executed uh, together. Okay. In each case, we call the get underscore taxes function and use the value that is returned to set the value of a variable. We calculate tax owned by a person. In this case, we call get underscore taxes with earnings set to 9,000. Okay, fine. Now, before we move on to another example, remember the function from the introduction. It accepts a number as input and adds 3 if the input is less than 10. Otherwise, adds 8. You remember we studied at the beginning. If the number is less than 3, so if the number is less than 10, then the result number will be added with 3 or the number will be added with 8. Okay, that condition. I hope now these things are clear. Now let's do one more thing, that is multiple else if statements. So you have used else if once, but there's no limit. I said there can be many conditions. Okay, see, there is a function called get underscore dose. You have to pass the weight. If weight is less than 5.2, then dose will be different. If weight is less than 7.9, the dose will be different. Okay. So whatever input you provide here, first it will be checked here. If the condition satisfied, fine. These things will not be executed at all. Dose will be returned. It is not satisfied. Then it will check the next condition. If it satisfies, then this will be set. This will not be executed. Okay, so this way, this will run. Let's take the example 12. What will happen if the input is 12? First, it will go. If 12 less than 5.2, no. So it will not be executed. I'll go to the else if part. 12 less than 7.9, no. False. So it will go here. Less than 10.4, false. So it will go next else if. Less than 15.9, yes, that is true. Okay. So what will happen? Those will become 5. Once it is set, it will not go for any other condition. It will go back here. So return those will be returned. So it will print function will print it. Okay. Now I hope completely clear to you. Now it's your turn to do the exercise. Okay. Okay. So first you have to set up the notebook. Then question 1. You work at a college admission office and when inspecting a dataset of college applicants, you notice that some students have represented their grades with letter. Okay. Others have represented with number. So you need a consistency. So all of the grades should be formatted in a way you decide to format them as letters. Okay. Now A, any grade from 90 to 100, 80 to 89 B, 70 to 79 C, 60 to 69 D, and less than 60 that means F. Okay. So you have to make a function by this name which takes the input value. Fine. The score is between 0 to 100. Now you should return a Python string with the letter grade that it corresponds to. For instance, if it is 85, this will come under B grade. Okay. 49, so this will be F. Okay. These are the conditions. Now you have to create this function get grade and you have to give the conditions. Okay. Now see. So let's write if score greater than equals to 90, then the grade will be A. Okay. Next condition, you have to give else if, because you can give if once, then you have to say else if. Else if score greater than equals to mm, 89 or greater than equals to 80, then the grade will be B. Okay, same way I'll copy paste. Else if again, else if first it will be greater than 70, then it will be C. If it is greater than 60, then it will be D. Okay, and next less than 60 it will be F. So no more else if statement. Directly I can write else grade equals to F. Because if these are not satisfied, not greater than 90, not greater than 80, not greater than 70, then there will be only one options, that is less than 60. So it will be F. Okay. So this is the way you have to write the conditions. Now let's run it. Fine. Now question 2. In this exercise, for the previous lesson, you wrote a function cost of project that estimated the price of rings for an online shop that sells rings with custom engravings. Okay. Rings with engravings. Now the function didn't use the conditional statements. In the exercise, you will rewrite the function. Okay, no problem. So gold plated ring have a base cost $50, $7 per unit. $100 base cost $10 per unit. Solid gold rings. Okay, fine. Spaces and punctuations are also uh, counted. Okay. See, this is the function. This is the engraving. You have to first calculate the length of the engravings and then you have to check whether it is made of solid gold or it is made of gold plated ring. Because for this price is different, for solid gold the price is different. Okay, now let's write the function. See, if the condition solid gold equals to true, then the price will be 100. This is the base price. Then 10 into length of engravings. You have to calculate what is the length. Length function will give you the length of the engraved unit. Sorry, length of the engraved units. Okay. Okay. Now else cost equal to what is the base price? 50 plus 7 into length of engravings. Okay. See, if the condition solid gold is equal to true, then it will be the cost. Otherwise, it will be the cost. Now, if I run it, uh, I'm so sorry. This is uh, an error. This will generate a name error. Okay, now it is fine. Now question 3. You are a programmer at water agency. Okay. Recently, you have tasked to write a function get water bill and takes the input. Okay. Number of gallons, the number of gallons of water a customer used that month. Depending on that, you will generate the water bill. Now see, if he has spent 0 to 8,000 amount in gallons, then the price per gallon is $5. For this condition, the price is $6. Okay, greater than 30,000, then it will be $10. Okay, fine. Now, so you have to write the functions. Okay, so write if num gallons, this is the input. Here I will perform the conditions less than 8,000, then bill will be, what will be the bill will be not 1,000 but price per gallon, that is $5, 5 into number of gallons. Okay, next condition will start with else if. So else if number of gallons, let me copy this, I'll edit. Okay, number of gallons less than, here it will be 22,000. So I'll write 22,000. Then bill will be $6 per gallon. Okay, now the next one. Again you have to give else if statement. If it is less than, next one is 30,000. So I'll write 30,000. Then what will be 7. So it will be 7. Okay. Why it is showing red? Because indentation problem. You have to keep them in a proper indentation. Okay. Now when it is done, next is the else part. Else bill equals to 10 into num gallons. Okay. So we have given many conditions. If, else if, else. Okay. If it is satisfied, this one will be executed. Else if, this condition will be checked. Satisfied, executed. Not satisfied, will go here. Satisfied, it will be executed. All others will not be executed. But not satisfied, it will go to the else part, it will execute and the bill will be returned. Okay. Num underscore gallons equal to 1,000. Oh, okay, I'm sorry. The price for 1,000 gallons is the value. So what you have to do for 1,000 gallon, $5. Okay, not for every gallon. Okay, so I have to do this for all of them. Now let's run. What? 0 to 8,000. So I have to also give equals to. Otherwise, 8,000 will not be considered. Okay. So, fine. Now let's see. Okay. Now question 4. You work for a company that provides data services. For $100 per month, your company provides 15 gigabytes. Then for any additional data is billed since 1000 MB, 1 GB. Okay. So they have given conditions. Like say, a customer who uses 10 GB of data in 1 month is billed only $100. But since the usage stayed under 15 GB. Okay. But who uses more than 15 GB of one in 1 month has gone over by zero point 0.1 GB, 15.1. So it has to pay $100 plus 0.10 into 100 for a total bill of $110. Okay. Let's write the condition. So the first condition is if GB less than equal to 15, then the bill is 100. This is fine. But if not, you have to give else. Only two conditions, so you don't need else if. Okay. Else bill equals to what will be the bill? 100 is the base price plus for every GB. So sorry, GB minus 15, and for every extra GB you have to give 0 100. It will be 100. Okay, fine. Two conditions. If else. Multiple conditions. If else. Okay. Whatever the extra conditions you have to provide else if. Otherwise, if and else are fine. Okay, now the next question. In Mexico, foods and beverages that are high in saturated fat, trans fat, sugar, sodium, calories appear with warning level. Okay, see, box of cookies, excess calories, excess sugar. So you will work with a function get underscore levels, take the nutritional details, and then prints the needed warning levels. Okay, food underscore type solid or liquid, serving size, size of one serving, calories per serving, saturated fat, trans fat, sodium, sugar. Okay. Note that some of the code here should feel unfamiliar since we have not some of the functions used excess sugar, excess saturated fat. But at high level, these are the functions that returns a value of true if the food is deemed to have an excess sugar or saturated fat. These functions are used within get underscore levels function. Okay, let's first run this one. Here you can see that there are many inputs, food type, serving size, calories per serving, whatever they have said here. Okay, these are all inputs. Now you have to apply multiple conditions. If the excess sugar equal to true, then print this one. If excess saturated fat and pass these inputs, if true, then print something else, excess saturated fat, excess trans fat, excess sodium. Okay, so if you make this program and you pass these things, then you will be able to see what is the problem with the food. Okay, uh, let's execute it. Fine. Now the next code cell demonstrate how to use get labels to get the warning level that the food item should contain. Okay. Now here is an image of all the nutritional information. Oh, you have to take the informations from here. Okay. They have already written it for you. Note that this for food. Food type solid, serving size 32, like serving size 32. Okay, so you have to see it from here. Okay, no problem. Now they have given all these things, and by supplying all these functions, we can print the warning levels. Okay, so we will pass all this input here. Then the conditions will be checked, and then accordingly your warnings will be printed, whether it's high calorie, high sugar, whatever it is. Like in this food, you have excess saturated fat, sodium, excess calories. Okay, don't intake. This Bologna has three labels printed in the output above. Okay, so it may be printed here, though here it is not printed. That's a good thing. You can write a program for yourself. Whatever food you buy, you just pass the values, then check what is excess in it. So accordingly, you can uh, check your diet. Okay. Anyway, these are open food artifacts. Okay, so from here you have to take all the ingredients. See, saturated fat, sugar, fiber, protein, whatever. Here, from here you can get the ingredients, and then you can pass it in this function like get levels, and you pass all these ingredients. That I'm not going to do. Okay, if you want, if you find this interesting, you can do. But our main objective for this one is understanding the conditions. That if you have one conditions two conditions, multiple conditions, how to use if statement, when to use if else, how they are executed, how to maintain the indentation level. If more than one condition, you have to use else if statements. Okay. So, uh, meet in our next video. Till then, bye. Happy learning. Hello everyone. Welcome back to this channel. Let's continue intro to programming. We have completed arithmetic and variables, functions, data types, conditions, and conditional statements. Now the last one, intro to list. Okay. First I will read, then we will do the exercise. See, when doing data science, you need a way to organize your data so that you can work with efficiently. Okay, Python has many data structures available for holding your data. List, set, dictionary, tuples. In this tutorial, we will learn how to work with Python list. These are the data structure by which you can hold the data efficiently so that you can perform different kind of operations on the data. Okay. Now in the petal to metal competition, it's the competition flower classification. Like you have to classify which kind of flower is this. Okay. Your goal is to is to classify the species of a flower based on its image. This is a common task for computer vision. It is image classification. If you don't know, don't worry about this. This is a type of data science like computer vision where you visualize the data and try to predict many things. So here in this competition, the job is that you have to see the petal and you have to tell which types of flower is this. Okay. Now see, towards this goal, you organize the names of the flower species in the data. So you have different kind of flower species. Now what you do, you just have created a string flowers equal to, and then you have kept all the data together. Okay. Now what is the type? If you print the type, this is a string. But the problem is that this is not a good representation. Better way to represent is using Python list. How does it look like? It looks like this one. See, in string, you have just kept all of them together. Here, here also you have done the same thing, but you have given quotation for every individual species. Okay. So this is called a list. For that, you need a third bracket, opening bracket, a closing bracket, and every species is separated with a comma. Okay. So to create a list, you need to use square brackets, okay, and separate them with a comma, okay, and every item in the list in Python string, so each is enclosed in quotation mark. Exactly. Now, if you check the type, then see Python will show you as a list. Okay, so how does it differentiate? In this way, like you have given a closing bracket, an opening bracket, every individual species is separated by comma and all of them are in quotation mark. That's why the type has been changed from string to list. But why? That we will understand. At first glance, it doesn't look too different, right? Whether you present it via string or using list, it looks almost same. Then why do we need a list? There are a lot of tasks you can do with a list, but not with a string. Okay. Suppose you want to know that a specified item, like you want to know what is there in the first item, what is the species name in the second position, what is for the last position. These things you cannot do using string, but list will help you easily solve those problems. Like check the number of items. I want to know how many species are there. Then also list can't help you, but sorry, string can't help you, but list can. Okay. Add or remove items. String once string is made, you cannot edit that. But in list, you can easily add anything, you can easily remove anything. Okay, so you understand that there are many operations which you can perform with list but not with string. That's why we need to know. Okay. Okay, now let's check what is length. We can count the number of entries in any list with len function. If you want to know how many entries are there, like total how many spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whatever it is the number, you can easily get that by using a function, len function. Len of our flower list, it will give you the total number of entries. Okay, this is it. user defined function, which is already there in Python library. So you are just calling the function. Okay, function we studied before. Next one, you can index. Indexing, you know that like what is there in the first page, what is there in the second page. It's like the same. First, second, third. You just see the position. This is called indexing. So this one will be in zeroth position. This one is first, this one is second position, third position. So if I tell you that please tell me what is in the fifth position. So you can easily tell me 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. So it is easy to access them. Okay. Like if you write flowers list and you pass it in the third bracket giving 0, then it will show you what is in the zeroth position. Then what will be in the first position. Okay, so you understand that you can easily fetch with position by indexing. This is called as indexing. And you remember that Python always starts with 0. So that's why it is also known as zero-based indexing. The first entry is 0, the second entry is 1, and then so on. Okay. Now to pull the final entry, you have to use 1 less than the length of the list. Exactly, because the 10th one will be actually in 9. The last entry, see here, is the is which is in ninth index. Okay. So Python is known as zero-based indexing. Now you may have noticed that the code cell we use a single print to print multiple items and a value from the list. To print multiple things in Python, we need only separate them with a comma. Now here see, we have just fetched one item. But suppose I want to know that what is in second position as well as what is in third position also. Okay, I want both of the values. That time, one thing will help you, that is slicing. So you can also pull a segment of a list, for instance, the first three entries or the last two entries. This is called slicing. You are just taking a slice, not an individual one, but slices. Okay. See, if I want first three entries, then you can write in this way, flower list. This is the name of the list, and inside the third bracket, you have to give this one. Why colon? Colon means that it will start from the beginning. And why 3? Because I want two numbers. First one, sorry, I want three numbers 0, 1, 2. So the last one is ignored. Okay, so whichever is in the third position will be in the third indexed position will be ignored. Okay, or if I want the final two. Starting position is to ending position, and when you are giving nothing, that means the starting position is from the beginning. When you are giving nothing, this means the ending position is the end, the up to the last value of the string. Okay. If I give 1 is to 3, then what will be the output? Then it will start from this is 0, this is 1. So this one will be taken. This is in second position, second indexed position. So this will be taken, and 3 means that one will be ignored. Okay. So this one and this one will be printed. Okay. Now removing items. Remove an item from a list with dot remove function. If you use the list name dot remove and then you pass any particular value, that means you are telling Python, please remove this from the list. Okay. So see, after removing, if you are printing, this one will not be seen here. Okay, because this is remove. Remove function will remove. How to add? To add at the end, you use dot append. See, I have added Snapdragon. So this one is added at the end. Okay. Now lists are not just for strings. List can be used for other things also. So far we have only worked with list where each item in the list is a string. But list can have items with any data type, including booleans, integer, floats. See, let me tell you one thing first. I'm very focused to this tutorial only. That's why I'm only telling the things which are written over here. You can see that particular video. Okay. Here I am very focused to this lesson. That is what my target is for now. Lists are not just for strings. So far we have only worked with list where each item in the list is a string. But list can have items with any data type. Booleans, integers, floats. As an example, consider hardcover book sales in the first week of April. These are hardcover book sales. These are in number. So it's not that you can only store the string or the text. You can store the numbers also. Okay. So this is a list of integers. Similarly, you can keep float. You can keep any data type. Anyway, similar to when working with strings, you can still do things like get the length. Here also, if you write len function, len, it will provide you the length. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So output will be 7. Okay. If you want to the second indexed position, then it will be 0, 1, 2. So the output will be 172. Okay. The same thing you can do with integers, any kind of data type. Okay. Now you can get the minimum value also. For that you have to call the min function. So min of the list, max of the list, then it will give you the minimum value. The minimum value is 121, the maximum value is 191. Okay. If you want, you can print the total books also by giving sum of the list. Then it will add all the numbers and will give you as a result. Okay. So we can also do similar calculation with slices of the list. By taking the slices also, you can perform some operations. See what we have done here. What we take the sum from the first 5 days. Okay, total sum from the first 5 days. Like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I want to calculate the average. That is what their aim is. Average book sold in first 5 days. For that you need the sum of first 5 days divided by 5. Then you will get the average. See how it is done. Sum of list and there they have provided the slicing. Slicing in the starting position, if you provide nothing, I said that it will start from the beginning. So it is taking from the beginning, from the 0th position. And then up to 5th position. So 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Total 5. So total 5 values you have got. 5 integers. First 5 integers. First 5 hardcover cells of the books. Then you have added them by using the sum function. Then you have divided by 5 to get the average. Okay. So you understand how slicing is working for integers also. Now your turn to practice. Okay. Okay, so let's first set up the notebook. Now you own a restaurant with 5 food dishes. Okay, and that is in Python list menu. Okay, now you decide to remove the bean soup and add roasted wheat salad. Okay, so implement this change to the list while completing this task. Do not change the line that creates the menu list. Your answer should add dot remove and dot append. Okay, they are telling you don't make any change here. Instead, you use the functions. Okay. So first I have to remove. So menu dot remove and there I will remove bean soup. Okay. It will be removed. Next dot append. I have to add menu dot append. Here I have to add roasted wheat salad. Okay. I'll just copy and paste. These things are not possible with strings, but this is possible with list. Okay. Let me show you. If I print menu, then what will be the output? See, the bean soup is removed and roasted wheat salad is added. Okay, so easily you can modify your menu. Next question. The list num underscore customers contain the number of customers who came into your restaurant. That means first I have to calculate the sum of total 7 days divided by 7. Then I will get the average. So I will write sum of num underscore customers and I will use the slice because I want a slice for the first 7 days. So it will start with 0, or if you write nothing, that means it will start with 0 and it will go up to 7. That means it will take up to 6. The last one is ignored, divided by 7. Fine. Now what about average last 7? Average last 7 means you have to take it from the end. See here. So it will be minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4, minus 5, minus 6, minus 7. So it will start with minus 7. So sum of num underscore customers, it will start with minus 7 and giving nothing means up to the end. Okay. Now I will divide it by 7. Okay. Now what is the max? For that you have to call the max function. Inside pass the list. What about mean? Mean of num underscore customers. If I run it, see. Okay. So in this way you can do operations. Fine. Now question 3. In this tutorial we gave an example of a Python string with information that was better as a list. Flowers equal to uh, this is a string. You can actually use Python to quickly turn this string into list. You have to change it to a list using this function dot split. If you use this function, then what will happen? It will split the string based on what? Based on what you pass in the parentheses. In the parentheses, we need to provide the character should be used to mark the end of one list item. Whenever you get this comma, that means I will consider that this item is complete. So I can take it pink primrose as one item, right? The next one will start after the comma and it will continue till it gets the next comma. Okay, so by this comma, by the value you pass in the parenthesis, you can split them and can make them separate items and include it in the quotation mark. Within quotation mark you have to provide the comma. You can give anything, like if you give k, then what will happen? Then pin will be treated as an item and after k it will be treated as another item. Okay, so whatever you pass here, that is the mark. Now it's your turn to try this out. Later should be a Python list where each entry is an uppercase letter of English alphabet. For instance, the first two entries should be A, B, and the final three entries should be Y and Z. Use the string alphabet to create the list. Okay, so you have to convert this string, alphabet string, address string, this string to list. Okay, convert strings into Python list. So what I have to do? See here. The name of the string dot split, and within the parenthesis you have to provide the mark. So here, what is the name of the string? Alphabet dot name of the function, split function, quotation, and here I will provide dot because on the basis of dot I want to split this. Now what about formatted address? About this, we can use address would be a Python list where each row in address is a different item. Currently they are separated by comma. So same here also, you have to write address dot split function within parenthesis comma, then you have to give comma. Now see, I'll show you the output. Print letters. What will be the output? See, this has become a list and every item, it was the input, now it is the output. Every item is separated and it has been converted to list. You can see this one also. Formatted address. Now if I run it. Okay. Now question 4. List comprehension. List comprehension allow you to create a list based on the values in another list. In this question, you will get a brief preview on how they work. Say we are working with the list value. Test underscore ratings equals to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now, then we can use this list to create a new list where each item has been turned into a boolean. Okay, every item will be turned into a boolean in the new list depending on whether the item is greater than or equal to 4. So the condition is if the item is greater than equal to 4, it will be true, If not, then it will be false. That is the Boolean data type you have learned. Now, if I run it, see, the output is false, 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 true, true. Because it is less than 4, less than 4, less than 4. Now it is true, it is also true. So if it is greater than or equal to 4, then it will be true. So the same list but converted to a Boolean value based on some condition. These things you can do using list comprehension. Now in this question you will use to define a function percentage underscore light that takes one argument as input. Rating list of rating that people give to a movie where each rating is a number between 1 to 5. We say someone liked the movie. If they give a rating of either 4 or 5, your function should return the percentage of people who liked the movie. For instance, if we supply a value of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 5, 1, then 50% of the people liked the movie and the function should return zero point 0.5. That means, see, not liked, not liked, not liked, but liked, 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 liked. So 4 people has liked and 4 people has not liked. So exactly 50% liked the movie. So the return function should return zero point 0.5. Okay, 4 by 8. Now part of the function has been completed and you can calculate. Let's see. Percentage liked, least liked if greater than 4 or equals to 4. Now what about the percentage liked? Do not change, should return zero point 0.5. So you need only use least underscore like to calculate percentage underscore like. Okay, so we will use first sum of least underscore like. If greater than 4, that means here it will be false, it will be false, it will be false. False means 0. It will be true, that is 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and it will be 0. So total will be 4 and others are 0. But length is 1, 1, 1, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, so I have to divide it by length of least underscore like. This is the total length and sum means only those values which are true. They are 1, others are 0. Now if I run it, okay, so you understand how to calculate the percentage like. Fine. Now question 5. Say you are doing an analytics for a website. You need to write a function that returns the percentage growth in total number of users relative to a specified number of years ago. Okay. Your function percentage underscore growth, it will take two arguments. One is Python list with total number of users each year. That is number of users. Every year how many users? 0 means in the first year. 1 means in the second year. This is the total number of users and so on. The final entry gives the total number of users in most recently completed year. Okay, this one, the recent one. Now years ago, number of years go back in time when calculating the growth percentage. Okay, like ago equal to 1, then it will take this value and the last one, just 1 year ago. 7 years ago, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it will take this value. Okay, fine. Now your coworker sent you a draft of a function, but it doesn't seem okay. Fine. Now what I have to do? Function is written percentage growth, taking two inputs, number of users years ago. Now growth equal to number of users, length of -1. This is the percentage growth. Let's just check. So they want to say that there are some mistakes and you have to find that. Okay, so first run it and see. Incorrect. We have to find what is the problem. Okay, percentage growth, number of users years ago, fine. Now what will be the growth? Number of users, length of number of users -1 minus number of users, length of number of users minus years ago divided by number of users, length of number of users -2. No, there, see here. We have to calculate, we have to make this subtraction -1. Okay, because whatever the length is, you have to go one more back. So now here it will be number of users of length of number of users minus years ago minus 1. Okay. And it will be divided by number of users, length of number of users minus this value, because you have to subtract by this value only. So it will be this one. Okay. Like you can see it here. The last value. This is the last value in the list. Length of minus 1. If the length is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Length is 10. So you want 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. If the length is 10 and you want to access the last position, then you have to make the subtraction by 1. Exactly that is done here. Length of the list minus 1. That means you are taking the last value. Okay. Now what I am doing? I am taking this value. So for that, you have to use length, whatever the length is, minus how many years ago you want to know. 1 year, 7 years, minus 1. Because if you want this value, then you have to do the take the total length, which is 10, minus 7 years ago. So 10 minus 7, so it will be 3. Now you have to delete minus one more. Then you will get the second value. See, if I use the 7 value, then I have to take this value. This value is in second position, 0, 1, 2. Okay, and you have to delete by the same value. So whatever you are calculating here, you have to delete by this one. I hope this one is correct. Let's see. Okay, fine. So congratulations for finishing the course. You have completed the course. Next we can start the Python course or intro to machine learning course. Let me know which one you want to do. So accordingly we can plan. Okay. So meet in our next video. Till then, bye. Happy learning.